I'm Brois. I work at Sustainable Westchester. Really happy that you're all here. We're going to get started this evening with some remarks from our town supervisor, Paul Feiner, who's going to come on up. Okay.
First of all, I'd just like to thank you so much for doing this. I attended the first forum that you had a couple months ago, and it was so amazing. I didn't expect to be so impressed, but I thought it was really interesting and informative and saved everybody a lot of money, the people who attended, that I asked you to come back. And I think it was sold out, even though there was no cost today. But we're gonna be trying to do another program in the fall for people who weren't able to come today. And I just really appreciate everything you're doing. The Con Ed rates are so high, and I think that this is a way that we could take control of our own lives, lower our utility, costs, and you're getting at least something back. You're getting at least $80 back from the town. So when you're paying your taxes, think you're going to at least save $80, but you're saving much more, because if you take advantage of some of the tips that you learned today, your bills are going to be much less. And just before I go, because I know nobody really wants to hear me, I want to mention that the town hall, in about 2 months, we're going to have solar parking. We're going to have solar canopies in the parking lot, and that's going to help the town save money on our own utilities, and we're going to also try doing the same thing at Veteran Park. So another couple of months, you're going to see the parking lot here totally change. But again, I really want to thank you so much for what you've done, and I'm really so impressed and so grateful to you, and hopefully everybody here will save a lot of money in the coming months and years, and there'll be a lot of smiles. So thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me down, because we have a town board meeting in an hour and a half, and I never get it twice.
Thanks again, Paul. You were a champion in helping us to promote this event tonight. So really glad a lot of people found out about it. And thanks to you all for being here. I want to shout out my co-presenter, Natalia, who is here. It's her first presentation tonight, so be really kind to her. And in the back, we have Clark and Saul. Wave, you guys, our lovely Sustainable Westchester friends that helped you get checked in. Okay, and like I said, I'm Lauren. I'm the director of our building decarbonization programs at Sustainable Westchester. And Sustainable Westchester, you may be familiar with us. We are a nonprofit group, and the town of Greenburgh is a member of our organization. Sustainable Westchester's goals are to help the people of Westchester County live a more sustainable life. And Sustainable Westchester, our office is in Mount Kisco. You may be most familiar with us from the Westchester Power Program, providing clean electricity to many residents in Greenburgh across Westchester County as well. We also will be talking a little bit about some other programs later in the night as well. But let's get into what you have in front of you. So you have your energy kit box. We're going to step through each item in the energy kit, explain how you will set that up in your house. If you sat in the back, you may not have a kit in front of you, but Saul and Clark can maybe grab a kit from another seat and give it to people in the back, or people are handing them backwards anyway. So that is so friendly and sharing. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so these energy kit boxes were funded by NYSERDA. NYSERDA is the New York State Energy and Research Development Authority, and we love to give away free stuff, but technically nothing they give us is totally free, because we are all paying for NYSERDA on our utility bills. Next time you take a look at your utility bill, you may notice a small charge, the SBC, the Systems Benefit Charge, and that is going towards funding the state agency. So I say that as a reminder. Hey, these are programs you're paying into. You might as well take advantage of them. One of the programs that NYSERDA has created is the Regional Clean Energy Hub. So throughout New York State, we have established one-stop shops to help people get answers to their energy questions. If you want to know, hey, what's a good solar contractor? How do I get a heat pump installed? What are the tax incentives for an electric vehicle? Those are all questions that Sustainable Westchester can answer as part of the Mid-Hudson Regional Clean Energy Hub. And we have established the Mid-Hudson Clean Energy Hub in partnership with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Dutchess County, as well as New Yorkers for Clean Power. Okay, so we talked about how Sustainable Westchester is a nonprofit and our program Energy Smart Homes. So our department is here to help people with any energy questions you may have. You may be wondering, how do I get a free energy assessment? What is the best contractor to insulate my house? How many geothermal projects have been installed in Greenberg? Those are all things we can help you find out more about. And these programs are designed around the concept that most of the energy that we use in our house is coming from our heating and our cooling. So these programs, if it's insulating your house, doing weather stripping, we can help you to seal up those cracks. You can call Sustainable Westchester for help with the programs that you see on the screen. We help people through all the NYSERDA programs from low income to market rate. We can help you find out more about our contractor partner list, and we're here to help you navigate rebates, incentives, and financing. And you can call us on the phone, so after this presentation you may be left with more questions, or maybe you want to move forward on the home energy assessment. You could call me and Natalia. We'll be the ones answering the phone. Or you can send us an email, whatever way you prefer to communicate, or of course, feel free to ask us questions at the end of the presentation. Okay, so we're going to move into the energy kit slides. So like I said, you've got your energy kit box, and then you may have two pieces of paper with you. You have an energy action plan. That's kind of like a carbon copy paper. Maybe you haven't seen carbon copy paper since you were in high school. I haven't seen it in a while, but the concept there is if you want to take any notes about your energy action plan, you can keep the front sheet and then give us the yellow sheet at the end of the event. Helps us figure out like what we might want to better calibrate our information to, and it gives us a sense of what your action plan will be. And then the other thing you have is a copy of the slide presentation. So if you wanted to take notes as we move through the slides, those are available for you. Feel free to go to the back table if you need any help with that. Okay, so we have to become smarter energy users, and the way we do that is by thinking, how do buildings use and lose energy? So, I guess I just showed it on the screen, and I said it before, but maybe you guys want to shout out, what do you think uses the most energy in your home? Any guesses? Just call it out. What uses the most energy at home?
Heating and cooling.
Refrigerator, heating and cooling. Somebody was paying attention before. Any other guesses? It is your space heating, right? And we know that now after being through this brutal winter of super cold temperatures and super high Con Ed bills. Really, so the first thing we got to take a look is, how can we make our heating more efficient? What can we do to improve our water heating, air conditioning, refrigerators, and others? So, I think a lot of parents have the MO, turn off the lights, the energy bill is too high. But really, we want to be looking at our heating and cooling. Okay, and you want to get prepared for making your house more energy efficient. So using energy, it costs you money, right? So the motivations for why would you have a home energy assessment? Why would you install the stuff in your kit? You want to have lower costs in your home. Maybe you're also here because you're interested in reducing pollution, right? We know that if your furnace is running or an oil burner, there's pollution associated with that in the home and externally. So maybe reducing your emissions can come from making your house more energy efficient. There's also some interesting legislation happening across New York State. If you have heard before of the CLCPA, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, that was passed in 2019. It sets actually nation-leading goals, puts New York State right at the front of reducing carbon emissions, and the goals there are to reduce carbon emissions in New York State 40% by 2030. So we have a long way to go to reach those goals, but even as you put this stuff in your kit to use, you can be helping reach those goals. So when I think we all agree we want to not waste energy, right? Costs us money, it's just a waste, and nobody wants energy waste. So maybe you're somebody that's familiar with energy waste because you live in an apartment and you're opening your windows in the wintertime. Is that anybody in this room? Probably, yeah, a few people. Maybe you are looking at energy waste in your home by the opposite, right? Maybe your house is too cold in the winter and you're looking to warm it up. So we definitely want to identify energy waste and we want to be aware of how does heat move around in your house, right? So um, not a lot of people know about the thermal stack effect, but they probably know the expression hot air rises, right? So in your home, as you're heating your home, that air is moving around. And due to the thermal stack effect, the hot air is moving up to the attic. And if your attic is improperly sealed, then that expensive air that you've paid to make warm is going through the cracks and crevices in your roof. Just like we as humans need a hat to keep our head warm, your house needs a nice hat to keep warm in the wintertime. And the hat is also reflected in the sense that your house needs a pair of warm boots, just like your body would need a pair of warm boots, because the thermal stack effect, the hot air is not only rising, but as that hot air rises, it's being replaced with cool air that's being sucked in from the bottom of the house. And what's really at the bottom of the house? Your basement that's got dusty cracks and crevices that you've probably never cleaned, right? So the air that's infiltrating through the basement is then coming into your house and it's not the cleanest air. So by sealing up certain components, maybe you're doing the walls, maybe you're doing the roof, maybe you're doing the basement, we want to look at that in a holistic way to make sure that the air is moving properly through your home. So now you know about thermal stack effect, right? We're going back to high school here, carbon copy paper and thermal stack effect. There are little indicators throughout the presentation that'll just give you a sense of what's going on here. So if you see the green circle, it means that is something you can DIY, you can do it yourself. And the orange is reflective of like a more formal New York State program. Okay, oh, we talked about the energy action plan, so you've got that here. It's just a nice way to jot down any actions that you may want to take. All right, so we're moving into strategies for energy efficiency. And we're gonna get into the best part of the presentation, although there are four parts. Inside your boxes, we're gonna open up the boxes so you can see everything that you have. Natalia's gonna go through that, but I just wanna address like what is in the box and why do you have it. So we're looking at the thermal envelope of your house. The thermal envelope encloses all of the conditioned space. So if you have a garage, maybe it's attached to your house, but you don't heat the garage, that is not part of the conditioned space. If you have maybe renovated that garage and brought it into your house, so you're heating the garage and now it's like a rec room or something, that would be part of the conditioned space. I just mentioned that because a lot of the stuff in the box can be used to benefit the thermal envelope. It doesn't really matter like if you're using things in between a bedroom wall inside of your house. It's more about using the stuff that's facing unconditioned space. So just keep that in mind as we go through the things in the box. Okay. So we're going to talk about why air sealing makes a difference and how to find certain areas where they may benefit from air sealing. We want to stop leaks that are happening at drafts and doors, and we want to use the caulking on windows, so we're going to talk about that. Okay. Natalia is going to mention each item. Feel free to open up your box, hold in your hand the item that she's talking about, find it in there, and yeah, Natalia, come up here and take it away. Oh, I forgot to say one thing about wintertime. Do you want to say it or do you want me to?
No, you can say
Okay, so it is getting warm now, right? Like spring is pretty much here. It is spring now. You may want to keep some of these items in the box and put them into use in the fall because a lot of these have to do with staying warm in the wintertime. Hopefully it's going to get warmer and warmer this summer. So just use your best judgment about what could be installed now and what needs to wait until the cold season. Okay.
Hi, everyone. So like Lauren said, if you want, you can take out each item as I'm demonstrating it, or you can keep it in the box and just take a look at me. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is weather stripping. So you have two types of weather stripping options. I'm just going to demonstrate this one, just because depending on where you're applying it, this one can actually, you can pull it apart in two to make it thinner if it's an area that's more thin.
I can flip it.
You
want
can,
me to do
yeah,
that?
sure.
Okay.
So if you're wondering where you would want to include weather stripping, you would look at putting this around your windows, doors, or also around AC units. And in order to determine what the best spot is, what you would do is you would look for slots of light, or potentially if you can feel a draft coming from a particular area. So what we would do is, for example, if we're doing it like in this picture here, if you want to put it on the bottom of your window, you would open up your window, then you would take like a wet cloth or something, clean that area, then dry it out, and then you would apply this weather stripping. What you would do is you would take off the adhesive, there's already one on here, and you would apply it to the window. And then when you close your window, it would squish this foam part down, so therefore you wouldn't be getting as much of those drafts. Perfect. The next thing that we're going to look at is the window shrink and seal insulation kit. So this is one of the things that Lauren was mentioning is good to do in the winter time, because in the summer you're probably going to be wanting to open and close your windows, which you wouldn't be able to do when you have this on your window. So before you apply this, what you would want to do is close your window, lock it, and then make sure that your window is clean, because like I said, you're not going to have any access to it. Then after that, you would use the double-sided tape that you have in your kit. You would measure it and cut it and put it around your window trim. And then after that, you would take this film that you have, you would open it up, make sure that it's the right size, you'll cut it to the correct size, and you would want to press it down so that it's tight all on this double-sided tape. Then what you would do is take a hair dryer, put it on a low setting, and stand about 6 to 8 inches away from this film, and you would take a few minutes just to blow dry your film, and that'll make it even tighter. Here are just some photos.
I think this is better as a two-person job. Does anybody have this plastic you put it on your windows? Oh, okay, great. So I'm glad, okay, we've got one person that does it, and it's kind of tricky, right? You gotta hold it really taut, and then it's just, so invite your neighbor over, have a cup of tea, or like recruit your partner to help you do this. It's a better done with two people.
Do you have a question?
You have to take it out every year and put it back the following year?
Yes, if you want to have access to your windows, then yeah,
Right.
in order to open and close them. Otherwise, if you don't want to open and close it, you can have it for the summer to keep your AC in as well.
You could, yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, my mom uses the plastic in her house too, and she removes it like so carefully. She's very conservative. She takes it off and then she reuses that same plastic again the following year. So I think it's mostly meant to be disposable, but you can certainly get a couple years of usage. You may have to use your own tape to stick it on the wall the following year, but it's fine, I would say. And it's quite effective. You could see on a cold day, the window film will be like ballooning out. So it definitely works at stopping those drafts. Yeah.
That was gonna be my question. So to be completely perfectly situated, it doesn't have to be completely sealed against the pane.
No, actually it's going on the wall.
It's going on
Do
the
you
wall.
want to go
So there
back to that
Yeah.
picture?
It's going on like the trim of around your window.
okay, so the blow drying, what am I looking for?
You're
When am I
just
on done?
it'll take a few minutes and it'll actually become a little bit more clear. You'll be able to see through it better. Perfect. So the next thing that we're gonna look at is the door sweep that you have available in your kit. This might not be the exact length that your door is, so you might have to cut this, or potentially if it's too short. I mean, you can try this one, but you can also get another one. This one, pretty easy. You just want to have the adhesive side go onto the bottom of the door. You slide this under the door, and it attaches, and then that way, when you're opening and closing your door, you're having it sweep shut and and then that way you're not getting drafts come under your door. Okay, the next thing that we have in here are foam outlet and switch gaskets. So sometimes you can, if you want to use these on exterior walls. So like Lauren was saying before, you want to keep it in your building envelope. So you would use these on a wall that's to the outside or to an unconditioned space like your garage. So what you would do first and foremost, you want to make sure that you're flipping off your circuit breaker before you're trying to play around with outlets, because we don't want anyone to get electrocuted. You would remove the wall plate and by using a screwdriver, and then you would just apply one of these. You can punch out the little spots for where you're going to plug in all of your electronics, and you want to press the foam in a little bit, and then you'll reattach the plate, screw it back on, and turn your breaker on.
What does this do?
So this, a lot of times if you go look at those exterior walls, if you put your hand like half an inch away from your outlet or your switch, you can actually feel the cold air coming from the outside. So this helps insulate it.
So you put it inside the house, and you said outside?
No, so you put it in, it's inside of your house, but it's to an outlet that, like, for example, if there was an outlet on this wall that's bordering the outside, those are the outlets and switches where you have that cold air from the outside coming into your home. So you wouldn't put this on an outlet that's like on a wall between two bedrooms. Yeah, like you wouldn't put it on that wall. You would put it on an outlet or switch that's on this wall. I was actually very surprised. I checked this out in my apartment. I put my hand next to the outlet that I have to an exterior wall, and I could feel the cold air coming through. I didn't think of that before. Yes?
So this would be an example of one thing, like one and done. You don't have to mess with this. Once you install those foams, they stay in year round.
Yep. Yeah, you don't have to remove these.
That's a good part. Yeah, so for your energy action plan, maybe you're jotting down like, I'm installing my foam gaskets tomorrow or something. So, and there are some pictures.
Yep.
Right, so as soon as you take off that face plate, then you'll really also feel the draft coming from behind the wall too. It's actually quite shocking, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, it is punched out. So yes, you can punch these out.
And you definitely should.
Yes, you should, because you want to be able to plug in your electronics and actually use your outlet.
Yeah, and it could be you don't want to cause a fire or anything.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to are our light bulbs. So we have 2 LED light bulbs for you. So we have them right here. You can replace your incandescent or CFL. The CFL are like the swirly light bulbs. You can replace them with these LEDs. LEDs can be up to 90% more efficient than incandescent light bulbs. And so although they might be a little bit more expensive to buy at the beginning, they actually last much longer. So you can just, if I were you, I would also make sure that your lights haven't been on for a long time, because sometimes those incandescent bulbs get very hot. So when you're replacing your bulb, just make sure your lights are off. You can unscrew it, and then you're going to just replace it with this LED. Then you can use your lights as you normally would.
They come in different strengths,
Yes.
different wattages.
Yeah, so I think sometimes the CFLs get a bad rap. People say like, oh, those are too bright for me. I don't like that bright white. But they do come in a range of colors and lumens, so it's possible to find one that matches what you're
But you
looking
get used to it.
Well, I really like them because they last forever, and they are kind of expensive. So, like, I know when we moved out of college, like, we took our light bulbs with us. They were expensive, but they were CFL. I mean, I still have the light bulb from my college dorm room, like, in my bathroom or something.
So that was last year.
Yeah.
It's actually a long time ago.
So quick question for everyone. Can anyone guess, what do these 3 things have in common? Your power strip, your occupancy sensor, programmable thermostat. Any guesses?
They use energy.
So they actually can, that's a great guess. They actually can turn your electronics on and off. So they're used to regulate when and what time your electronics are working. So one thing that we have for you here is an advanced power strip. So this one is very cool because you have 3 different outlet types. You have the always on outlets, And in this one, you would plug something like your router in, right? Because you want to have Wi-Fi in your home constantly. You don't want it turning on and off. So that would go in the red, always on. There's also a blue one, the control outlet. So this one is something that you would plug in that you're going to be turning on and off that will be controlling these green outlets. So I'll give you an example. If you plug in, for example, your TV into the control outlet, and then let's say for your TV, you also have speakers, you have an Xbox, something like that, you would plug them into the automatically switched outlets. That way, when you turn on your TV, it'll turn on automatically your Xbox and your speakers. When you turn it off, it'll turn them off as well. That way, you're not using this, you don't have this phantom energy, you're not using this standby power by having everything plugged in 24/7.
Right. Do you all know about the vampire energy load? So when your device is plugged in to the wall, it is still drawing power. And sometimes, like, I'll walk into my kitchen at night and I'll be like, gosh, there's so many things lit up. Not only is the microwave with the clock and the coffee maker with the little button, not only are those drawing power, but even items like your cell phone charger, when there's no cell phone at the other end of it, is still pulling power from the outlet. Yeah, and it's so definitely using the switch on the power strip can help to turn off that power, or just be more aware of unplugging devices when you're not using them.
Yeah, I think that's it. Now Lauren is up, so I'll turn it back over to her.
Thanks, Natalia. Didn't she do great? Her first one. Amazing. All right, so moving through things that you can do at your own home, separate from what's in the energy kit box, is using a programmable thermostat. Does anybody do that here? Okay, yeah. Benefits? What do you like about it? Right, you turn it down. It's just you don't have to think about it. You've got it programmed, so it's going to go super low in the evening, and maybe you can turn it on warmer right before you wake up, or warm up the house. So definitely there are programmable thermostats that are available on the Con Ed website. I don't know if anyone's ever checked it out, but Con Ed does have an online store where you can purchase things through them, and it's a little bit cheaper. Has anyone used the online store before? Yeah, like the CFL bulbs, this is going back a while, but you could buy them for a few dollars as compared to the price like at Target or a big box store. So programmable thermostats are definitely a great way to reduce energy costs. And also just taking a look about your water usage. Is there a toilet that's always running in your house? Because that is costing you money. And installing low flow shower heads can not only save water, but it can save you on your electricity bill because it's expensive to heat the water that you're showering with. So taking a look and being smart about water usage is another good thing. I actually learned from this presentation about these energy guides that are on appliances when you buy them. I hadn't really paid attention to them before. I always was somebody that looked for the Energy Star appliance label, so if there was an Energy Star label, I was good to buy it. But now I realize there are some really good pieces of information on this yellow sticker. So if you're buying a dishwasher, a refrigerator, maybe a stove, most of the big box appliances, definitely a laundry machine, it's going to have this energy guide. So you can take a look and see what the manufacturer expects this appliance to cost you per year. And we do have a little bit more expensive energy bills here in the Northeast, especially in the tri-state area. So you may also want to take a look at the expected kilowatt usage. Could be a good thing when you're price shopping, comparing different appliances. If you buy something that's more energy efficient, it could be cheaper in the long run. So. Okay, and another good reminder, since we're going through all these household reminders, you want to replace your filter fans if you have fans in your furnace, if you have filters in your furnace, if you have a filter, maybe you have an air source heat pump. All these items have filters. Not only are they going to make sure your air is cleaner, but they're going to help your system run more efficiently. Okay, and we've also got some tips for using appliances efficiently. If anybody is not using these dryer balls yet, I highly recommend them. They reduce the drying time for the laundry, they reduce static electricity, and they replace the need to use dryer sheets, which have harmful chemicals that can clog up the machine anyway. So we've got lots of good tips here for using energy more efficiently. Does anybody hang their clothes out to dry in the, yeah, I love some of the old school things are just the new ideas of how to save energy, right?
Solar power,
Solar power, that's right, love it.
wind power,
And wind power too, yeah.
good exercise.
And exercise, wow, the list keeps going.
I read where you could put a dry towel in the dryer with the wet clothes, and the dry towel will help absorb the wetness so the dryer doesn't go long for it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love all these tips and tricks, yeah. Okay.
Is an electric dryer more efficient than a gas powered or vice versa?
So actually the thing of the market right now is heat pump dryers. Those are really the most efficient way to do it because you're not like needing to create heat, you're just moving it around. So yeah, heat pump dryers are the cool thing. And the state will be incentivizing those as well soon. So
What's a heat pump?
what's a heat pump? Let's put a pin in that question because I have a slide about it later in the presentation. Yeah, and I think that's going to happen soon. So we've moved on now from what can you do in your home, DIY, on your own. Now we're going to go through programs and incentives that can help. So I'm going to talk about each thing pretty briefly. We're kind of okay on time. So if you have a question about the particular program that we're talking about, just raise your hand and ask me as we're on the slide. So has anybody here ever had a home energy assessment? Okay, I see one hand raised. Did you do any improvements from your assessment? Not yet. We hear that a lot. Yeah, not yet. Okay, any other people have a home energy assessment before?
I have a question.
Okay, yeah.
Do they do it for the apartment unit since I live in a co-op, so it's not a house?
So the home energy, right, so the energy kit you can use in a house or apartment. Home energy assessment is for somebody that lives in a 1 to 4 family home. You could live in a condo that has its own heating unit, or if you live in an apartment, it's for somebody that's lower income in an apartment. You can also have a home energy assessment. There's not a New York State program that's incentivizing individual apartment dwellers that are market rate to have the assessment. And the apartment owner, the building owner, could do something to look at the efficiency of the entire building. And that is a service that Sustainable Westchester provides, so we can help with that.
Is that free?
Yes, the home energy assessments are free. We love free 99. So a home energy assessment is a great way to diagnose how your house is using energy. So you'll get a really good look at how the pressure boundary in your house is, what is happening with the stack effect. The contractor, so we can help you apply to this program. It's a New York State program. We have a list of contractors that we recommend. The contractor that you choose will come to your house and do a series of diagnostic testing. They'll set up this big red fan in your front door and it depressurizes the house. So at that moment, you can walk around your house and see where all the leaks and the drafts are because they're all exaggerated at that moment. And when the blower door is running, the contractor may or may not use an infrared camera, depending on the temperature differential outside. But the thermal energy camera is really interesting at seeing where in your walls, like you could see in this picture, there's a lot of cold air creeping in at the ceiling right here. So it gives the contractor a good understanding of where your house could benefit from added insulation and air sealing. And you'll be with the contractor as they walk around your house doing the testing. You can ask them questions. Why is the room over the garage always cold? Why is my son's room so hot but the kitchen is cold? So they'll really be able to answer a lot of those questions that you may have.
Is there a better season to have the assessment done?
Yeah, people can have the assessment done at any time. I think, there's busy seasons for the contractors when people feel, especially in the fall, when they're like getting cold in their house again, people will call them. But this work can be done any time of the year. And if they can't, there's just really a few days outside where they don't use the infrared camera. But like if they can run the air conditioning or run the heat, they can gain a temperature differential that day. Yeah. And also, if they don't use the thermal imaging camera, they can use a smoker test. So it's like a little smoke pen, and they're able to do that instead.
Is there any obligation to the contractor to use their services to remedy?
No, you don't have to use the contractor that does the assessment, but typically a contractor will work from their own assessment, just like a car mechanic's going to work from their own assessment. So you can have multiple free energy assessments, and at that point, if you're holding a few different reports in your hand, or even if you only met with one contractor, you could then call us. We can help you understand what the recommendations are. There's also an energy coach service. That's a free consulting service with a nonprofit group. They're all guys, so you can meet with the guys online. They're mostly retired engineers and energy experts who volunteer their time to help people figure out what is the best way forward. So we can connect you with an energy coach if you would like that as well.
You would say that this was free even though there is a contractor involved?
Yes, the contractor is subsidized by NYSERDA, who paid for the boxes today. Yeah, so the assessment is free. Yes.
Yeah, but field day in my house.
Yeah, it's a very interesting assessment. Like, especially you feel the light switch, you feel a lot of air coming through there, and you learn a lot from it. And people don't know this, right? It's like, oh, I want to upgrade my kitchen. But if you were to put that upgrading the kitchen money into maybe insulating the walls, you'd have a lot more savings over time. Okay. Any other? I know it is pretty. I know. But if you do your insulation first, you could then pay for the new kitchen with your energy savings. That's got a decade or so, but yeah. Okay, so we talked about the home energy assessment, and the top recommendation that's going to come from the energy assessment is to insulate your house. And there's a lot of ways that they could do it, from the inside, from the outside. You could see here they've lifted the siding and they're piping in the dense packed cellulose from the outside. So you get a lot of information in the mail. Replace your windows, right? Like all the time, commercials for new windows. Really, from the energy assessment, they'll be able to tell you this. But typically, people are able to benefit from insulating their house. Much better ROI on insulation than new windows. And there are programs that can help you pay for this. So depending on your income level, there are incentives and rebates from the state. So for a market rate customer, they can expect to see between $1,000 and $4,000 in rebates from New York State, as well as a federal tax credit up to $1,200. And sometimes there's also rebates from Con Ed, so the Con Ed Weather Ready program. So you can pull incentives from 3 different places: federal government, utility, and the state, if you were to add insulation to your house. And for people that are a little bit lower income, perhaps they're a senior trying to stay in their house, if you're somebody that's receiving HEAP, SNAP, TANF, or you know somebody that is, please connect them to us. People that fall into these categories are able to receive up to $10,000 of free energy upgrade work in their home. So we definitely want to get the word out about that. Okay, so certainly people insulate the roof, that is possible. Other times people do the cellulose spread out on the attic floor. And that's where you maybe would benefit from having a meeting with the energy coach. You could show them all the reports and they could go through it. Sometimes the decision is like, hey, I still want to use my attic floor, so let's put it on the ceiling. Or if you're gonna maybe install an air source heat pump later on and do renovations in your attic, then you want the insulation on the ceiling. Just as like, what's your future plans?
Just a question.
Yeah.
On the help that you could get in terms of incentives, is that from the first $1,000, or do you have to spend like $10,000 to get the $1,000 back?
So the Comfort Home program is a NYSERDA program, and that is like if you choose the good, better, or best package, there'll be certain dollars attributed to whatever package you choose. So that is dependent on the Comfort Home package. The federal tax credit is a flat fee, so if you spend $1,200 on insulation, that can be put towards the tax credit. And the Weather Ready is also dependent on your project work scope from the contractor. Yeah. And that's true also for the 50% cost share for moderate income folks. To get the $5,000 rebate, you would also need to spend $5,000. But the Empower, that Empower Plus program is 100% free. Okay. And if you know anybody that's really struggling to pay their energy bills, please get in contact with us. We can connect them with the HEAP office that can help them to pay for their heating, as well as the energy affordability program with Con Ed. Okay, yeah. All right, so we had a question about air source heat pumps, right? So now we've talked about insulating, making sure your house is sealed up nice and tight. Now we have to think about what are you using to heat and cool your house. So what are people using in here? Do you have an oil burner or a gas furnace? Gas mostly. Boiler, okay. So right now, the new trend here, it's a new trend for us, is air source heat pump, ground source heat pump. These are devices that have been very popular all over the world. If you travel to Europe or Japan, you'll see air source heat pumps everywhere. Also, people commonly spot them now, like at restaurants and public spaces. They can provide heating and cooling. This is the outside unit of an air source heat pump, and the idea here is you're moving away from a device that's burning fossil fuels in your home and moving to something that's using electricity to provide heating and cooling. So I don't have as many details in here. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, so where did I go?
But doesn't that use electricity?
It uses electricity, but you're not like creating heat, you're moving heat. So it's like almost 3 to 4 times more efficient depending on if you're doing air source or ground source. Yeah, and if you have solar on your house and you're generating your own electricity, it goes really well with a heat pump as well. Okay, and there's programs to help you pay for this if you're interested. So New York State offers the Clean Heat program. That's through your utility of Con Ed. There are contractors that we recommend that can help you move through the Clean Heat program. And, you know, if your heating system is getting old, this could be something to think about moving to in the future or now. Maybe you've always wanted to have central air in your house. This could be a way to achieve it.
I'm sorry, go back to the previous slide. It said it's not available to customers with municipal power utility. Is that us?
That's not us. Only like people in upstate New York have that.
It's not
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, and there are also tax credits for moving to heat pumps as well. So we can give you that information. We don't have that in the back, but I can email you the info about it.
Can I just
Yeah.
ask you? When I heard about heat pumps in my country, which is very cold, in
What country?
Norway,
In Norway.
they weren't strong enough when it was really cold.
Yeah, when was that?
A few years ago.
Yeah, so more recently they've developed a cold climate air source heat pump. So like 20 years ago, air source heat pumps were like all the rage in South Carolina and Florida, and it was just for cooling only. But now they have the cold climate versions that are able to provide heat like down to negative 15 degrees. They do get less efficient, like if it's negative degrees outside, the unit is not going to be as efficient, but certainly on an average day, which is most days of the winter, they provide heating pretty well. They do require like an adjustment of how you heat your home. You know, like when your furnace turns on, you hear that loud sound and it's churning out really hot heat. This system is more consistent. It's consistently providing like a 70, 72 degree temperature as compared to, you know, something turning on and turning off all the time. So it is different, right? But some people see that as a benefit. So, question?
How many units do you need for like a 3,000?
It depends on your house. So it depends. Do you have ductwork or no ductwork? You do have ductwork. So you could have an air source heat pump or a ground source heat pump that connects into your existing ductwork. So in that case, you'd have a whole house air source heat pump. But if you're somebody that would never install ducts in the house, then you need like typically one head per room. Yeah. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, I forgot about this whole part. Okay. So we talked a lot about state programs, bigger changes to make in your home. Now we have a little program called Grid Rewards, and I'm really happy we're all meeting today because we are in what we call Grid Rewards season. Are there any Grid Reward users? Yes, I love that. Okay, how much did you guys get paid last week? Any?
$103.
103. Pretty nice. Okay. In the back?
I'm not getting paid anything. It says I didn't get enough points.
On Grid Rewards? Okay, let's talk about it after, because if you participated, you should get paid. Okay. Any other Grid Rewards customers? Yeah? In the glasses? Did you get paid last week? Something good, I hope. It wasn't my best year. I only got $60 this year, but in previous years I've gotten 107, 80, good amounts. So how are we getting this money? Well, let me rewind a little bit. Grid Rewards is a demand response program. So basically what happens in the summertime, the utility is under stress. We're all turning on our air conditioning and we're all calling for additional power. At that point in the summertime, we say the utility grid is peaking. When the utility grid is peaking, it's under the most stress. The utility has to implement programs. They could implement demand response, which is Grid Rewards, or they could turn on their peaker power plants. We need the extra energy, but we really would rather not see these peaker power plants turn on because they are extremely inefficient. We know that they're located in environmental justice communities. They are spewing noxious chemicals and pollution into the communities around them, and we don't need to cause that harm to our neighbors. In Westchester County, our peaker power plants are like in Sunset Park and in other areas of the city. So the utility has to pay the peaker power plants significant money to be ready to turn on at any point, and they have to pay for the power plant to turn on. So instead of doing that, the utility is able to implement a demand response program and pay us to create a virtual power plant. They can pay us to reduce our electricity during key times. Oh, this is kind of a depressing slide. And, I mentioned the communities, the environmental justice communities that are suffering from pollution of the peaker power plants, but, the wind moves everywhere, right? So in Westchester County, we actually have a failing score for our air quality from the American Lung Association. So taking action for reducing electricity during peak demand can be a way for us to help improve air quality. So the benefits, like I said, if you were to participate in demand response event, it's a perfect time to sign up for the program. You can sign up tonight. It's pretty easy to sign up. You need to know your Con Ed account number, and you can sign up on your phone or on your computer, and that will get you enrolled for the next summer to participate in the season. It's no obligation. If you don't participate in the events, you just don't get paid. There's no penalty for that. You gain a lot of personal energy insight into what's happening with your energy usage. There's tips and tricks on how to lower your energy bill. And you also can check the real-time carbon intensity of the energy grid. So for me in my apartment, like before I do the laundry, I'll check the Grid Rewards app to see like how heavy in carbon emissions is the electricity grid. It's just kind of interesting information to have.
Lauren, how long has that program been in place?
Grid Rewards, this is our 4th year promoting it.
Who owns the program?
The program was created by Logical
Oh, yeah,
Buildings.
who's responsible for it? Because it's the first time I ever heard of it, and it seems like a really good idea.
Yeah, it's great.
And in this room, only one person knows what it is. And I've been paying a Con Ed bill for as long as I can remember. Why don't I know about this?
So Con Ed, I mean, it's frustrating too because sometimes they send out a text like, please reduce. But
Whatever it is,
Con Ed,
if it's important to reduce the
Yeah.
energy consumption on the grid, it makes sense from a demand perspective.
for sure.
Then everybody should know about this, and I don't think whoever's in charge of it, responsible for getting it out to the people, has not done a good job.
Yeah.
So who would that be?
Well, the program is called Con Ed Smart Usage Rewards. So they provide that, and then there are aggregators, and the aggregator that Sustainable Westchester is partnered with is Logical Buildings that provides this program for all Con Ed customers in New York City and Westchester. There's other aggregators out there, but our partner is Logical Buildings, and Yeah, we definitely want to get the word out there. We have
That's a great
less
idea. I
than
mean, it makes sense,
5,000
right?
customers,
I mean,
so
I'm looking at 4 years I missed out on, and I could have been helping the environment as well.
yeah, that's right.
Is
Well,
this the program where you use your appliances in the middle of the night?
so there are many different types of this word demand response. So if you have an electric vehicle and you're charging it at night, that is a version of demand response. If you are signed up for the day-night rate where you're using more electricity at night because it's cheaper, that is also a version of demand response. But this particular program is not about like day night. It's about when there's a demand response event, you're taking action to reduce your electricity usage. So like for me, what I do when there's a grid rewards event, I'll pre-cool my apartment and then I'll turn off the AC during the event. It'll get a little warm. Maybe I'll go for a walk. Maybe I will just turn on a fan or something, but I'm definitely not like doing the laundry. I'm not turning on my dishwasher. And that's all about being a smarter energy user. Like if you're doing the laundry and not hang drying using an actual laundry machine when it's 95 degrees out, that is a bad thing to do for the climate because the energy grid is already pretty stressed out. So does that answer your question? Okay. Yeah.
So is this mainly during the summer?
Correct. So right now the season is May to September because the energy grid is peaking then. But I think, as we move to more electric appliances, this could become a wintertime option too. But right now it's just summer. And last year, I don't know, maybe we had 7 events, 6 or 7 last year. Yeah.
And it doesn't affect anything else on your bill?
No, there's nothing you even have to install. You download the app on your phone and then it's connected to the smart meter that Con Ed's already put in at your house years ago. Yeah.
I know I made a mistake, actually, I just didn't get a $50 check.
Woo.
When I got it, I thought maybe it was a bogus check.
I know.
I deposited, but I just got it.
Yeah.
So I guess it was.
The checks are sent out from Logical Buildings through a partner called Checkbook, and we've been like emailing everybody. It's not spam, but we all, yeah. Okay, so yeah, please do sign up for Grid Rewards. And like I said, it's Grid Rewards season because we want to get you enrolled now. So if you enroll by March 31st, you're going to make the most money this summer. If you kind of delay and you enroll before the end of April, you won't make as much money. But you can enroll in the program at any time, but definitely do it before March 31st so you can get 100% of your earnings. The QR code is on the screen if you want to download it. Then we've got lots of Grid Rewards stuff in the back. If you want to tell your neighbors, drop off a flyer at their house, feel free to do that. We need help spreading the word. And I guess, we got to wrap up. It's almost time to go. Tomorrow we're having a little webinar if anybody's interested, recognizing Women History Month. That'll be online tomorrow night. And just to wrap up our energy kit presentation, if you need any other assistance, we are available. We're just a phone call away. That's all I'll say about that. Reach out to us, phone, email, website. We are here for you. And if there's any other questions, I think we can take them after. So thanks everybody for coming out tonight and good luck implementing all of the upgrades in your home. Let us know how it goes.
Thank you.